welcome back to another podcast.
What's it called?
Paul's podcast.
Okay.
The Paul Ensling Show or Paul Ensling Podcast.
Still haven't decided.
I don't know yet. I'm trying to launch this thing by June 6th. Today is the 20th of May or something?
Today's the 20th.
Or the 19th still.
I think today is the 21st, actually. 20th.
The 20th.
Yeah.
And we're thinking we should record this emergency podcast because Greg, why? Tell the people what are you doing to it?
Well, sadly, on the 23rd of May, so by the time they're watching this, it will have been weeks, but
Yeah.
I'm leaving back for America on the 23rd, which is pretty crazy.
And why is that?
Yeah, there's plenty of reasons. But yeah, basically, my financial situation has not been the best here due to my accessibility to work due to my visa. And I'm not saying that my visa is to blame. I think that there's plenty of other factors, but what makes the most sense for me financially with the things that I want to move towards is to go back to America, do long distance with my girlfriend, but be able to work full time, stack, pour into a business, which my name will be a part of, and be able to work to get to where I want to go. You know what I mean? Sometimes one of my friends said to me, sometimes you have to slow down to get there faster. And I think that this is one of those seasons where I need to slow down and take a step back so that way I could get to where I want to go.
And where is that? Where do you want to go?
Like for me, like it's not about necessarily where, but one of the things I know I want in this year for sure is I want to be engaged to my girlfriend, and I want my goals
by the end of the year.
By the end of the year.
Okay.
And next year, I'd like to be married. I'd like to begin to be able to start building towards a family and building a life with somebody. And so me going home for a few months allows me to get my checks and balances right in America, have some steady income, hopefully grow this business to where if I do come back in 3 months, which is the goal, I could have income from this business in America. That way I don't have to worry about finances here and how I'm going to make ends meet. So, yeah. That's
3 months is a pretty tight time frame to be starting something off the ground and expecting it. I mean, just
oh, for sure. No. I mean, all rebuttals are valid rebuttals, you know. So I think that we are coming up with a good game plan. One of the areas in which they've been lacking over the last year has been sales. They haven't had anybody who has any sales experience and any marketing experience. They haven't had anybody who's necessarily worked within a digital creative agency, so they don't know how to market and sell services to other businesses, which I've done before. And the guy who started the company, his name's Josh Newman, great guy. He studied film and acting at school, so he has his bachelor's from Chapman University. Stranger Things, the guys who wrote Stranger Things and directed it, they came out of that school, but he's acted in some short films, stuff like that. And so he wants to create this creative studio to partner with other creatives, also give them a platform, but he doesn't have any experience in building the business side. And not that I'm an expert, but I've worked for a business that was doing pretty decent successfully in Australia. So yeah, hopefully it turns out. Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah. And that's why I figured we'll get on this just to kind of like rethink and like exchange ideas and reflect on like the last couple of months, because obviously like I've been watching you not struggle, but I've been watching you like going through it. It's not been the easiest time for you, and obviously it sucks watching you going through that as well. But sometimes, and we've talked about this, obviously you don't want to leave Berlin now. It's just about to get nice here.
I went through that whole last winter for what?
You know, you went through the whole winter here in Berlin, which is gray and just sad, depressing. Just leave now.
It's like 6 months of winter.
Yeah, 6 months of winter. Just leave now while life for all of us here is just about to get so much better, just because the weather's getting better, right?
For sure.
But sometimes you just got to bite in that sour apple and do what you have to do for your future family, and taking ownership and responsibility, and closing one door if you realize, hey, this isn't working as I had planned it to. And that's where I think a lot of people can take from this or learn from this, even though it's a sucky situation, even though it's you don't want to leave, your girlfriend here, do long distance with her, leaving the boys and leaving everything behind, church and all your other commitments. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and
for sure,
you just need that reality check and challenge your status quo and like, okay, is this actually the best thing I can do right now for my future? And then
of course
taking the sacrifice. So just kind of like touch on that. What was the decision process like, making that decision? Because I'm sure it wasn't easy.
Yeah. Now, it definitely wasn't easy. I think me and my girlfriend started having that conversation a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, if for whatever reason things don't work out, what is plan B? I don't necessarily believe in having plan B always, but I think that it is good to begin to have certain conversations if things aren't panning out the way you thought it was. But basically, like, I had began to start taking mental tallies of, okay, like, one, how am I personally doing?
Mm-hmm.
How's my relationship doing? How's all the areas of my life doing, given my situation? Those are beginning to fall.
Mm-hmm.
And when of course, like, you have to outweigh the pros and cons of the situation and what would it look like if I went home? What would the pros be and what would the cons be? And so we did that over a few weeks. And I, of course, did that with you. I talked to my friends about it, kind of kept people in the loop.
Yeah.
And then as we were
which is
getting closer,
important.
yeah, which is super, because you gave me a lot of good advice. You challenged me on some things.
Yeah.
We tried some new things, like,
mm-hmm.
and it just didn't work out. So
yeah.
So basically, when that happened, I began to
break the table.
I know, right? Almost. When that happened, I just started sending out some feelers back home, like,
yeah.
Hey, do you guys know of any work? Do you, like, would I have a place to stay, right? Would I have a job? What would the job pay? Would I be making more money than I'm making here?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of things would it allow for?
Yeah.
And so after looking at the two situations, I can either keep living here and living what is pretty close to paycheck,
yeah,
or I could go back home, pay slightly, like, a little bit more in rent, but make 4 to 5 times as much.
Oh yeah.
And just have a different quality of life moving forward. If I go back home and I work for 3 to 6 months, I could pay for a year of living in Germany due to the cost of living,
mm-hmm.
even at my old place, So yeah, that's why.
Just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And
it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It is a sacrifice for sure, because you don't want to miss. I mean, what are you really missing out on? Obviously,
I'm not missing out on anything because I can't pay to do anything. You know what I'm saying?
That's not what I meant, though.
But
like,
no,
you know, you can't have that mentality or FOMO of like, oh shit, I'll be missing out.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're gonna miss you here and whatnot. But like I said, sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and
That's facts.
it's for everyone listening too. Like if you're in a shitty situation, at the end of the day, no one's really coming to save you. No one's really coming to, pull you up from your bootstraps and help you. You got to do that shit by yourself, and you got to realize, hey, where I am right now is because of the previous decisions that I've made.
For sure.
And obviously there's external circumstances, and I'm no one to say that, it's all like caused by yourself or whatnot. There's multiple factors that all play into it, but at the end of the day, you have a free will. You can make decisions where you want to be, what you want to do.
100%.
And no one's forcing you to do anything. So if that
life
puts
happens,
you in a,
life happens to everybody.
Life happens to everyone, and you just got to play the cards how you get them and figure out what your next best move is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And make those decisions in community. Like,
that's a huge thing. I mean, they always talked about that in college too, right?
Yeah.
Someone wise is someone who has a multiple of counselors. So
for sure.
What's that? It's like a proverb the Bible says, like a wise man or a king always seeks the advice of multiple counselors.
For sure.
Because different people will be able to give you different perspectives on your issue and
absolutely
challenge you, and might even give you new ideas. And that's even something we were talking about just now while we were grabbing food, having pizza. Like, there's always multiple options that you have. It might feel like you're trapped. You only have one way of doing things, or you feel like there's no other way out of this. But step back, look at the situation from an external view, and you'll see there's multiple. Yeah,
always. And like, that's what's helped me with this decision, is that I made the decision in community, and where I'm going next, I'll still be in community. Like, I'm not up and hightailing it out to be on my own somewhere with no plug to help me stay on track for the things that I want in life, for my goals. So life's not something. Somebody said at college is that our purpose and our goals and where we're headed in life, it's not a tightrope that we're walking on. It's an open lane, and sometimes we veer in a direction, but we're still on the same path to where we want to go. And like, that's something I've just realized with this last year. Like, I could look back at this and say Germany wasn't it, but I don't believe that. You know what I mean? It's poured into the direction in which I'm
Yeah.
heading.
And that's also another thing. You never know what you're going through right now or whatever you're experiencing right now. It doesn't even have to be a good or a bad thing. Looking back down the line, it will just make sense why you had to go through that, or like
100%.
why you went through that. So it will all make sense, and like you know, live by faith type of
that's true. But
yeah.
as far as you go, you've had some updates.
What kind of updates do I have?
Well, I think the first one is your contract got extended at your job.
Well, that
right?
I mean, that got
You officially work for
in
this
April.
company.
I think that got extended already.
Yeah, but when was the last time we recorded?
I'm not even sure what we talked about in the last episode. We could be talking about the same thing. And
we're not. We talked about college.
We talked a lot about college. That's true.
About college, why we moved here, things of that.
True. Well, yeah, my work contract got extended, which is super cool, which I'm very grateful for. Giving me some peace of mind too, because the first 3 months I was like, oh, okay, I gotta perform to be able to get my contract extended. If they don't see me grinding, then quick out of this, then I got into it. So super happy with the feedback I got from my managers or from my leaders, I guess, team leaders and CEO.
Cool.
And that's been really cool. I've been learning a lot there, just sales, human nature, even psychology type of things, and been able to use that in day-to-day situations.
And it's a pioneering role, basically, right? Like you're on a team in a new city, in an expanded market. New market. They're expanding, all that kind of stuff. So how's that been? How have you felt like that's played into the way that you viewed the job as well as the way you go about the job? Because you got this job back in, when did you get the job? Back in January?
Yeah, that's when I first started.
Yeah, so you got the job back in January for a company based in another country who was expanding into the German market.
Yeah.
And they hadn't had a team.
Yeah.
They hadn't had any setup. They had a few contacts maybe.
Yeah.
What has it been like being a part of kind of that startup culture, maybe a little bit on the lower end of this like scale in terms of, and I don't mean lower end of the scale, but what's it been like being the workers in that startup environment?
Yeah.
Because you're doing all the cold outreach, like they're working hard as well, but what's it been
on
like?
the field?
Yeah.
It's sometimes, I mean, at my old job at the company I worked at before, it even felt more like being like that foot soldier type of role, because I was doing it in real life in a way where I would walk into these businesses and try to sell their product. Now I'm very much, I mean, compared to that, very much in my comfort zone in the sense of, I'm sitting behind a computer messaging people through LinkedIn or calling them. So I felt like I was pretty well prepared for this. Okay. It's not like it's like a crazy thing out of my comfort zone every day doing cold outreach. Obviously you still gotta do that shit, and you gotta tell yourself, even if you don't feel like it, recording those messages, we do some video pitches here and there, or doing cold calling. I don't always feel like it. And I mean, to be honest, sometimes I don't feel like it, and then I start procrastinating and stuff. Yeah. But I've been trying to challenge myself more and more to see this as like as a professional person would see it, and in a way that's how I should treat it, because I mean, I'm being paid for this.
Yeah, facts.
This is my profession in a sense. So being a professional means showing up even when you don't feel like it.
Absolutely.
Working out even when you don't feel like it, calling even when you don't feel like it, and just putting in that work. And that's something to grow in day by day. But we've been able to get some cool results. The pipeline definitely has been growing. I've been able to get some intro calls in through cold calls, through LinkedIn outreach and stuff. So I guess how our sales process works is I'm trying to get the intro calls in. Obviously, my other team members are also trying to do some outreach, but they're more in like the back end type of sales cycle. Trying to close. And then we qualify them, see if it's a good fit, always putting the customer first, asking what kind of challenges and struggles they have, and see if we will be a good fit and could help them. And once we have qualified them, we give them a demo of the platform, and come up with a proposal for them. And we have had a couple deals in the proposal stage, which have been able to come through now as well. So actually being able to see the first whole deal cycle, being there from the first intro call all the way to like the agreeing final green light by the CMO. That was really cool to see, and like you just feel accomplished afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's also something that I've been like having to train my mind to with previous jobs that I worked at, especially in barbering. It's very much short-term satisfactory. Like you put in the work, it's 30 minutes, and by the end of it, you see the haircut that you finished.
Yeah,
you know?
see the
like,
haircut and you see the check.
Yeah, you see the check right away, and you see the check right away as well. But with this, you know, you put in work at the beginning, and you might not even know if you ever hear back from the prospect or the lead. But then, you know, that sales cycle taking like a month or so, finally being able to close it has just been such a great feeling, because you know, you put in all this work and it finally kind of pays off.
Yeah.
And you're never really certain if it will close until it does, you know? So
yeah, that's pretty interesting. I guess that's why they like, now even thinking about it, like working a sales job super hard, because you don't know what's going to happen, especially if you're the SDR, BDR, you know what I mean? Like you put in all the work and nothing could come of it. Unlike other jobs where, like, for example, serving tables.
Yeah.
You serve the table, you know that you're going to get paid. But with sales, you don't know if that deal is going to close. You don't know if all the hard work you put in
will pay off.
Pay off.
Will pay off.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like admiring so much. Even my boy Helge, who's launching his or has launched the agency Same Day Socials now, and I've been, you know, just helping him out here and there with some like copywriting, or like how he could set up his sales cycle and stuff like that, just as a friend helping him out. But then you gotta have that mindset too of like, you know, he's building something, he's putting something out there, he's investing into a website, he's investing into, you know, some marketing, promotion, putting himself out there, but you never really know, you know, what will come out of that. You do all of that in good faith, you know, you do all that in like planting seeds, you do all that in putting myself out there, exposing myself and hoping for it to flourish and prosper and grow. But that's how it's done, I guess, you know, and that's really the only thing you can control, like what kind of seeds are you planting, you know.
Facts. That's cool. Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what other updates do you have?
I was thinking we could, and we talked about this, do this little like monthly check-in podcast where we like check in on each other, how we've been going about our goals. I think we in one of I don't know if that's the like final one we recorded, because we recorded like 2 pilot or test episodes and then one that we were actually going to put out.
Yeah, facts.
But in one of those 3 we talked about journaling, and
you were challenging me to journal.
How you were wanting to journal more, and just following up on that already, like how has that been?
Yeah, you know, I think that when it came, like when you challenged me to journal, I did give it a shot like the first week. After that, like I wasn't really feeling it. But I think the reason why I wasn't feeling it was because I think with a lot of these self-help things, or like all these hacks or all these biohacks or all these finance goals and all these XYZ, I think like what makes it hard to do sometimes is always somebody else talking about the way that they do it. And you have to find out how you do it, you know. And like everybody I know did journaling every single day and they found it very, very helpful. And for me, I just found it monotonous and boring. But the way that I've like come full circle with journaling is whenever I'm feeling mentally overwhelmed, challenged, restricted, whatever it is, I find those to be the best times for me to begin writing about how I'm feeling, what's going on through my head, XYZ, and putting down what's in my head onto paper so I could reflect on it as I'm writing it and afterwards. And it's not like I'm able to say, I think it's a few things. When you look back, the best part about daily journaling is you can look back on what certain things led you to a certain behavior or feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is a great part of daily journaling. What I found is that when I'm journaling, especially to maybe get out of my head or put my thoughts down on paper, it gives me perspective on the way that I'm feeling and what's been going on in my head, while allowing me to get it out and be able to potentially process that with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't something I was doing before. The day-to-day stuff I talk to you, I talk to other people about like, I'm very like clear about what I go through day to day, but I think that when it comes to emotions, I typically stuff them down. And so me journaling has been very helpful in that way. And down the line, I might get into daily journaling, but as of now, it's a bit more sporadic. It's not every single day, but it's most days I'm writing something down.
Writing
good
something
and
down.
bad. Yeah.
And even just writing down good things that happened that day. I like even just what am I grateful for today? Write down 3 things. It's everyone's heard about that before. Most people have even probably tried that. I'm not doing it every day, but I try to at least write in my journal like every day, and just write down what I did that day, because it's also cool. Like imagine like in a year or two, or even a decade or two, you look back, you find your old journal, and you're like, oh, that day I was hanging out with Greg. We moved him out of his old apartment and recorded a podcast afterwards, but even with like Matthew McConaughey talks about that, he wrote a whole book about it because he's been journaling for forever.
Yeah, that's true.
And he was on Joe Rogan, I think, talking about how it's helping him writing down, what he does that day and then checking it off. And then whenever he does find himself in like a little bit of a slug or downtime and kind of feeling like depressed or whatnot, he looks back into his journal entry and he's finding like little patterns of things that he used to be doing whenever he was feeling better. And he was saying that has just helped him so much to build kind of like a consistent habit of working out, for example, spending time with loved ones,
whatever it is,
whatever it is that helped him being in a better emotional state. And I think there's so much value in journaling for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I'm at though. That's where I'm at.
I'm curious to find out where you're gonna be at, or where we're gonna be at by the end of the summer. If you do come back in 3 months, if you do come back in 6 months, who knows by the end of the year, and what we'll be able to accomplish. Because I don't know, I've been like more and more thinking, man, we just gotta do shit. You know what I mean? Like we just gotta create stuff. And I'm thinking back to like times when I was like 19, 20, and I used to be so ambitious and working hard. And I mean, we talked about it earlier, like the social media Christian influencer days of mine. I was putting out so much content, and I was constantly connecting to so many new people and always sharing ideas, always creating stuff. And now I feel like I'm just consuming, I'm just consuming all the time, not really creating stuff, not really putting stuff out there. But every time I have like a conversation like this, every time I'm like creating something, I feel so much more alive afterwards.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. It's like creativity inspires creativity. You know what I mean? Challenge inspires challenge. Drive inspires drive. And I think that's the scary part about all of this, though, is that you get the same level of dopamine talking about you doing it and arriving as you do if you actually did it.
Yeah.
Which is why I think people forever will talk about things that they want to do and never actually do it, because their brain is like, you get the rush from it. But I was going to add, like, we do have to just do this shit this year to get to where we want to go. Excuse my language. But
no, it's all good, bro. There's like, no language restrictions on this podcast.
But we really do. And like, that's one of the things that I... Like, I mean, as your boy, and even like I know my homies back home, like as somebody who has full capability of doing things and making money, I really respected you stepping up, getting that next job, XYZ, pushing your salary to another level, XYZ. And like in some ways I'm jealous because I'm not able to do that. You know what I mean? Due to my current situation. But I know that in going home, it gives me the better opportunity to do those things. We could challenge each other in those ways. You know what I mean? And like we might be in two different spaces. We might not be able to run alongside each other directly, but we're still running alongside each other in the race towards our goals that we have and what we want to end up where we want to be. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to like talk about those things and be able to share the challenge of it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Some exciting things coming up for sure.
For sure.
And we already talked about how we'll have to do like the monthly or ever so often catch up over over like a Zoom podcast. Although I don't want to do those too much. I much rather prefer those face-to-face, in-person conversations, because I feel like you can just get so much more out of that and have I don't know, probably just better conversations or better feel for the conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to think who else to bring on the podcast and who else could be a good fit and what might be interesting to talk about and all those things because
Bro, you know what a good idea is? When you drop this podcast on June 6th.
Yeah.
I mean, just so everybody knows, we're filming on May 20th. But when you drop the first podcast, in your intro or your ending, like, because you can just clip one in, you should ask people if you have any guests, anybody local to Berlin that you'd like to see on the podcast. Yeah. Please send me the recommendation. You don't have to do it forever because after a while you'll get a Rolodex. But the first 5-6 episodes, you could just attach that to the back, see what happens, see what comes of it. Yeah, we only know so many people, but maybe people listening know people who could come on the pod.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And we already had some cool conversations. I mean, by the time this is out, this is the fourth one. By the time this is out, you will have listened to them, and we'll be able to check them out. But I'm very much looking forward to what's coming out of this. For sure. But enough of
the pod,
the if and what's and maybes and how all this.
Okay, so let's talk about something that's going on.
Yeah.
So you're back on the market.
What market are you talking about?
You know what market I'm talking about. Oh. But no, serious. Like, I actually wanted to broach this topic because I knew you wouldn't bring it up, so I have to.
Oh, but days, dude.
No, like
I'm already flushing.
I know you are bright red. But what's it like dating again? Like, what's it like dating today?
I don't know if I want my shit to be out there like that though. Who's
like, you don't have to say names. You don't have to say nothing. But like, what's it like dating?
What's it like dating is very interesting because it depends on how you go about it, and it depends on like where you meet the person you're dating. So funny enough, I was talking to my boys. This is a funny story. I don't know if I told you, but when I first moved to Berlin, I made a Bumble BFF account, right?
Yeah,
because I had
remember that. You did tell me that.
Yeah, I had some friends who were on that and who made some like decent connections through that. So I got on that, but I just kind of found it odd and never really met up with anyone there. So we kind of realized a lot of the dudes on there were gay too and just trying to probably hook up and use Bumble BFF for that. But because I had that Bumble BFF account, not as soon, but like a little after my last relationship, I figured let me try out Bumble Date because it's the same app. You can even use the same account pretty much. So I just started swiping and I don't know, met up with one or two girls, but nothing really like came out of that. And then I see this, and there's no judgment. I just thought this was hella funny. I just see this girl with this huge pregnant belly on Bumble Date, in her description saying, "Oh, you know, I'm like 8 months pregnant, but I'm still like looking to meet someone." Or I was like, this surely must be fake. There's no way. But I guess people, you know.
People are into that. Some people want to be a dad. Some people want to be a dad. Some people want to be.
But they don't want to make their own kid, or what are you trying to say?
I'm just saying.
That too. So yeah. Anyway, so I take a screenshot of that just because I was so surprised and confused and irritated, and I mean, to be honest, I thought it was funny too. Send it to my boys, and they're like, "Yo, no, get off Bumble and try Hinge." And I was like, "Oh, let me actually give you this shot." And this was just a couple weeks ago. This was like beginning of May. I mean, the sun's been coming out here. I'm like, "Oh, it's summer, you know. Might as well go on Hinge."
You don't have to give details if you don't want to give details. No, I'm just asking what your experience is.
So all to say, it's very interesting if you meet someone because this was my whole introduction to how I got on dating apps, I guess. If you meet someone off a dating app, and I've been on a couple dates now with girls that I've met on either Bumble or Hinge, the first 30, 45 to an hour is just kind of like get to know each other, small talking, but warming the waters, and it's just a bit awkward, or it can be awkward because you have never met that person before. You have no like social connection to that person. You have no like, you start completely from zero.
You're meeting a brand new person.
You're meeting a brand obvious as obvious as that sounds, but like when was the last time you met a brand new person and you did not know anything really about them besides like their age, their height, and like whatever they put in their bio, you know?
And that's even a lot to know before you meet somebody.
Well, here's the thing though, if you compare that to if you meet someone organically, no, not in the grocery store, but like organically through like your friend group, through your local community, sports club, or church or whatnot, you already have some like touch points. You already have some
that's true
reference. You already have maybe a similar friend group or some things that already connect you that don't make those first couple minutes of interaction weird or awkward. And not to say that they're always weird and awkward, but they can be for sure.
And I'm gonna come back to this thought.
So this is I guess what I've seen as a big difference, because if I meet someone in my day-to-day life and we start hanging out or like grab coffee here and there, we already know each other and we have some similar people that we know.
Awkward.
It's less awkward. You have some to talk about and some to catch up on, or like you meet them even if you don't like set up a date or something. Church is the best example, I guess, for people to understand. You just bump into them and then you're like, oh, let's catch a coffee, and it's less awkward in a sense. And more natural. It feels more natural getting to know someone through that. So I guess that's what it's been like getting back on the market.
Cool.
It's the difference of if you meet someone organically, naturally through just like mutual friends or
some common ground.
While comparing that to meeting someone completely new off like an app or online dating.
So like with that. And this might be too personal, and you can tell me if it's too personal, and you can cut it out if you want.
Clip it out. No, nothing's.
But I actually don't. I don't think it's actually too personal. My question was going to be, with online dating or meeting somebody in person.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you personally portray different versions of yourself to people that you meet in person or people that you meet online and you're meeting for the first time? Because like, do you see what I'm saying? Because Riz in real life is different than Riz over text. You know what I mean?
That's the thing though, bro. I'm not trying to.
I know you're not trying to Riz nobody up. But.
No. I'm not. I'm saying I'm not trying to text too much. Like even with those couple girls that I met on Hinge, we're like, okay, like love to meet you when you're free. Boom. Let's set a date and. Maybe like, okay, what do you do? Where you from? Okay, you sound interesting. Let's meet up.
Okay.
And not much rizzing up or texting or talking.
Okay.
Through text, because to be honest, like you haven't met the person yet. You could be talking to a 50-year-old dude who's jerking off at the same time. So
that was graphic. Wow, that was oddly specific, Paul. No, but you're right. So when you go meet somebody that you've met off an app, because you did Bumble BFF and you've tried the dating apps now.
Bumble date, I didn't.
Yeah, right. When you meet somebody in person for the first time, do you feel like you feel a little bit more pressure to perform than if you met somebody organically in your day to day because there's some basis than when you go to cross that line? Because like. You meet somebody organically, let's say you want to hang out with them individually or in a group setting and you've made that intention kind of clear. Yeah. It's a different pivot than meeting somebody in person and kind of like you're coming in as, how are you portraying yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. Me and one of the last podcast guests had a conversation about that in regards to how dating kind of translates to, or how sales.
Oh, true.
To
it
dating.
Totally does.
And he's much more experienced in sales, maybe dating as well, than I am. And one thing that stuck out to me, do you want some more water?
No, I'm good, thank you.
That stuck out to me, or that I took away from the conversation was, he was like, dude, like guys at their first dates, they're always so pressed, or they're always so fixated on showing them all the best sides of them. And even and even in sales, a lot of sales guys, they want to pitch you the hell out of it and like show you all the best sides of the product and of the software or whatever they're selling, show you everything good about it while completely disregarding the other person or their needs or what they might be looking for. So that took off a bunch of pressure when I went on these last dates, because I kept that in mind. I was like, I don't have to be exceptionally great and show all the good sides about myself.
Yeah, you don't have to prove yourself to them because you don't know them.
Exactly.
You
I don't have
owe them
to
anything.
prove myself.
Yeah.
And it took so much. But we talked about whatever we talked about. Obviously, they're like, I think of, I don't know, even with the podcast, two of the girls that I just recently met, I asked them some questions that I would ask people on the podcast. Like, you know, one good question I think is, and I asked you this, like, what kind of like gives you motivation or wakes you up in the morning? Or what makes life worth living to you? And they start talking, and they're like, and this is like game for everyone listening, like,
you want the other person talking.
Yeah, you want the other person talking. You want, you know, everyone always enjoys themselves talking, like, and they feel listened to. And this is not like some like manipulative thing, or this is just basic human psychology of, you know, showing interest in the other person will make you interested or interesting, you know?
Absolutely.
So that's been super good. But regarding to your question, obviously I'm trying to be a gentleman, paying for them.
Absolutely.
You know, opening up the doors.
Cool.
I'm thinking, hey, if you
that is so lost today. Isn't that sad? Dudes don't let girls enter the train before them anymore. They don't open the door for them.
Yeah.
They don't. There's so many things that like this society has lost because we meet people online. It's fake interaction at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to hear that you're like, okay, like we've met online, I've already got you out, but I'm still gonna show you how valuable you are to me.
Yeah, like pulling the share back or something, or like, and I feel like everyone appreciates that. Like,
bro, everybody.
The girls are like, oh, that's really nice, you know. And
it
like,
sets you apart.
For sure. And like, you don't want to be that dude who's just on it for like the one time thing, like, you know.
So there is another question for you. Like, I know you're not a one night type of guy. I know that's not who you are. I know that's not what you're about. I know that you, like, even if you go meet somebody, you just want to meet somebody. You know what I mean, and see where it goes. You're not into all that other stuff. But as somebody who cares about people and values people, and also is trying to be a gentleman, how do you? Like, what are some things for you that it's like, okay, like I'm going to do this no matter how the date goes? Like, are you paying for dinner no matter how the date goes? Or are you splitting the bill? Like, what kind of things do you, when you go into meeting somebody, what things do you already walk in knowing for yourself? Like, I'm going to do this.
I wouldn't say I will pay the bill no matter what, because the other week when I went on a date with this one girl, it was a bit funny. And I even told her afterwards that I was a bit hesitant at first because we meet up, or we met on Hinge, and then she was very quick to say, I pointed out like a commonality that we had or something that we had in common, and she was super surprised by it. She was like, oh, well, I would have never thought that. And I was like, oh, sick. And then that's also like a sales thing. Like, you just want to personalize your message and point out things you have with the other person in common. People tend to like that, you know, like, or they feel understood in a way. So she was like, oh, you know, I would love to like continue this conversation in person. Like, let's meet up, you know, whenever you're free. And she kind of initiated it in a way. So I was like, oh, cool, you know, might as well do it. So I linked up with her, and that was the first, I don't know, a couple minutes were a bit awkward. And she was like, oh, what do you do? And I kind of kept it vague of like, I do sales, this software sales, okay. And she's like, oh, cool. And then I say, what do you do? And she starts telling me what she does, and then goes into, part-time I also do trading. And I was like, oh my God, no, this is some like chick that wants me to like join
in Forex.
Yeah, join her like trading network cult or some bullshit. And this is why she was so quick to invite me out here. And I was like, if this is the case, ain't no freaking way I'm gonna pay for her dinner, you know what I mean? But I made it clear. I was like, so is this like a network marketing thing like that you run? And she was like, no, we're not recruiting anyone, don't worry. I was like, okay, cool. Like, if that's the case, then we chilled and we had a great time, good conversations. And so I don't know, it always depends.
Okay.
But one thing, I mean, obviously I do want to do is like being respectful and not overstepping any boundaries. And just being a gentleman, I guess.
Trying to be the best guy you could be.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which is, I mean, yeah.
That's cool though.
Those are good questions, though. Those are good questions. It just makes me reflect myself. And I was just talking to my homie yesterday about it, who's been dating, and he was talking to some of his like girlfriends, like friends that are girls, about his experiences and stuff. And communication is key, and that's something I might still be like
working on,
and like after the date, okay, like making sure that you text them all like, oh, I had a great time, and like whether you want to see them or not. But you also, I mean, if you're being ghosted afterwards, it's also clear communication, you know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah.
You don't get a text back that's clear.
That's very clear.
It's unclear, but it's clear. They should have the decency to text you back, but they also don't owe you anything.
Yeah, they don't owe you anything. And,
yeah.
But always saying thanks. Hey, appreciate you taking time of your day, because, you know, it always respect other people's time. Oh, be there on time at the date. There's nothing worse than being late for a first date.
Nothing worse, especially if you're the person who asked somebody to go on the date. That's my personal opinion. If you ask somebody, hey, can I take you out on a date?
Yeah.
You need to be there on time.
Yeah, you need.
If you're the person showing up, still don't be late.
Hey, I like what they taught us in college, man. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're late,
bro.
And if you're on time, you're late.
Because it shows when you value somebody's time, it shows them that you value them.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah. And I would, like, if I was a girl, I would rather be the dude on time than standing there with flowers but being 20 minutes late. Just thinking about it now, like, dude, I value my time more than these stupid flowers. Like, if it took you that long, you know? And it shows, like...
The flowers are an expression of the gratitude for the opportunity. Like, the flowers are an expression of the precursor of what you expect the night to hold, which is a good time, shared value, maybe some encouragement, like quality time, all these things.
Yeah.
But you'd rather not have the flowers and not waste your time than be waiting around for somebody for 30 minutes.
Exactly.
It's different if they get off work late, whatever the case is, but
obviously that, you know, if you end up,
if your train came late,
the train. But even today, I was reading this text in this group chat of this dude at whatever, in this group chat. It was saying, oh, I'll be a bit late. The tram is late or something. It's like, no, bro, you took the late tram. Like, you could have taken a tram that came 5 or 10 minutes early and you would have still been on time. It's all up to you. Like, come on, take some responsibility. Like, dude, like, at the end of the day, it just shows that you weren't prepared, that you weren't ready. And it's not like a cardinal sin or anything. I'm even late. Not even, like, I'm late to things at times as well, but I try not to, or I try to be prepared, and I try to plan as much, even bridging time in between, or like puffer, so that even if I bump into someone and talk to them for a couple minutes, I'll still be on time.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Interesting.
And it's different when you just, okay, we'll meet around 9:30, or we all gather, and it's like a group setting, and
if it's
people
a group setting,
go, and that's different.
If it's a party, be late to a party, but a date or a meeting, 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
5 minutes early.
You just got to, got to, because otherwise that just communicates that you're not serious about the other person, and that.
Even when I've showed up 5 minutes early to some of my meetings, like some of my job interviews or first meetings with clients, and they are both already sitting down, like the CEO and the head of the department, they're already there, and I'm like, dude, I'm freaking 5 to 10 minutes early, and they're already here. It's also like, oh crap, they're serious.
Yeah.
If somebody shows up early and you're there early, it's like, oh, they're serious about this.
That's how we can always. That's actually cool that you point out. But
you can set the tone that way.
Yeah, you set the tone. But even because most of our sales meetings are online too. Sometimes, just recently, we had this incident where this prospect came in like a couple minutes late, and we don't tell them, oh, you're late, or why don't you appreciate our time? But she was like, oh, I'm sorry I'm being late, but I figure like in this digital age, you can kind of just continue doing what you're doing, or finish the email while you're waiting on the other person. And while that is true, it did communicate to us that she wasn't very serious about this call. Otherwise, if this was seriously something she was looking for, interested in, then she would have been there on time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's always good hints. That's always good hints for sure.
Yeah.
But for someone who hasn't been on the market for 3 years, what do you recommend someone who is back on it?
Who is back on the market?
Yeah.
Like me. Yeah. No. I mean, like, if I had any advice for anybody who's dating, first, like, if I have anybody who, if anybody's listening who's thinking about dating,
Yeah.
I would just say that, like, figure out what kind of things you're looking for in somebody,
Yeah.
and like check yourself and see how far you are along those things. You don't need to be there, but are you working towards those things that you're looking for in somebody? You know what I mean? Like, if you're looking for somebody who's a good listener, are you a good listener? Are you working on being a good listener? So I'd say that that's just an easy tip for somebody.
Yeah,
like,
you can't expect anything of someone that you don't try to embody or work on. Yeah.
No, it's facts. It's like, are you becoming the person you're looking for? Granted, you're not the person you're looking for, but like, are you on that direction? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if somebody's thinking about putting themselves back out there, I'd think about the things that you're looking for. And I'd also tell anybody who's thinking about dating, the list of things you're looking for might not be the list of things you need. And so maybe deduce some of those things down to characteristics. Not itemized goals and checklists, but what are the characteristics of the person you're looking for, and see how you are in those directions.
Yeah.
And then for people who are on the market, like, I mean, when I haven't used dating apps or anything like that. So
that's I was just about to bring this up.
I never used a dating app. Every girl that I've been with, I've met in person. I talked to face, and I developed a relationship with them from that way. So my personal opinion is that's what I find to be best, because that's pure bias. However, what I will say is that, and this is, I'm gonna say something that's controversial to culture, and that like guys probably won't like to hear and girls won't like to hear, is that the reality of it is if you're a girl, you have the power in setting the tone for what the beginning stages of a relationship look like in dating look like. Like, if you meet a dude, don't kiss him on the first date. Keep him wanting more. And that's the thing about guys. Like, guys, we like feeling like we conquered something, and you're not something to be conquered. So don't allow yourself to be treated that way. Guys, if you're dating a girl or want to date a girl, don't kiss her on the first date. Place some value on her. She's not an object. She's not just a kissing board. You know what I mean? And like,
and kiss.
Granted, a kiss is a kiss. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
Don't sleep with her on the first date.
Bro, if you're sleeping with people within the first 2 dates, you're giving it up too easy, and guys, like, come on,
have some self-control.
Yeah, my thing with like the whole kissing thing. You're right. There's nothing wrong with kissing. I don't think there's anything wrong with kissing. My first 2 weeks before I asked my girlfriend to be my girlfriend, we didn't kiss once. Yeah. Because how we connected physically wasn't going to change how we connected emotionally. And spiritually and physically, you know what I mean? Like us. The thing is, bro, is you might be a bad kisser to somebody and a good kisser to somebody else. And the reality of it is that's something you work out with the person you're with. You might like certain things in kissing.
I'm just a good kisser, point stop, bro.
Period, right? But like, let me, like, for example, let's say you like lip biting. And the girl and all the girls you've been with like lip biting. You go meet some chick and you bite her lip, and she's like, "Ew, what the hell? Like, what's he biting my lip for?" But either way, I mean, hey, look, I ain't saying whether I do or I don't. But what I'm saying is,
this guy has lip biting, bro. What even is that, bro? Nah, you don't need to show us. It's fine.
Yeah, but I was like, nah. But anyways, like, I just say that to say, like, the physical stuff, I think that's something that you work out in a vulnerable space with somebody. And so if you're a person who's dating and going on dates, if you're a chick, lock your shit down. If you're a dude, like, you're going to do whatever you're going to do, but find ways to place value on her. You know what I mean? And like, and she doesn't owe you anything because, exactly. Bro, if you're a guy, practice some self-control.
Yeah.
Period.
And here's what I was going to say regarding the social media, or not the dating apps, and meeting someone in real life, because I've done both. I've met people in real life through mutual friends, through whatever things that I was a part of, and online. And I would always say that the organic, real life, natural way does feel more or most natural. Because you already, as we pointed out, you have some common ground. You meet the person as a person first, not as someone that you're looking to date right away. You know, obviously there might be some people who are like, oh wow, I want to date this person as soon as you meet them, and you might meet them in like a group setting, but you still meet them in a group setting first. You know, you meet them around other people, or you meet them, however, and you just try to
Facts.
place value on them and become friends and see if it even makes sense from like a friendship type of
For sure.
relationship.
And if you're gonna date somebody in private, like somebody you met through on an app, as soon as you see it going in a direction of I want to be with this person, introduce them to your friends.
That's
Dating in isolation's dangerous, and when you're isolated, it's hard to make the right decisions. It's hard to make clear decisions.
That's tough too, because if I'll be honest, man, like those girls that I met off Hinge, let me rebuttal this, but like I can understand how people have a bit of hesitancy of introducing someone they met on Hinge to their friends.
Yeah, and I'm not saying to do that after the first or second,
especially in like a Christian context.
But the thing is maybe that's a clear example as to why you shouldn't be with somebody if you're embarrassed to introduce them to your friends.
Not embarrassed, but like it's like, okay, I've met this girl 1 or 2 times or 3 or 4 times, and then I introduce them to my friend. Like,
so do you think that you should introduce them after you're already dating officially?
Nah, probably not.
Before, right?
I do. No, I fully agree with you, and I do think it's the right thing to do. Although I do understand why there could be a hesitation. And it's like, dude, like you met your girl, and then like you wouldn't introduce her to your mom like a week into dating her. There's something like, okay, I gotta like, I guess with friends it's a bit less than introducing someone to your family. Or
it is less than, and I guess if like you keep me in the loop about the people that you meet up with, you know what I mean? Like you do keep me in the loop with the girls you meet up with. Like,
but you're about to dip, so I can't introduce you. I can't introduce you to them.
If you're not introducing me to them, you should. I hope that you're talking with somebody else along that journey. Like, oh, I'm meeting up with this person. That way, there's some context, and then as the time comes, they've seen you in the early parts of the journey. They might not have a face to the name, or they might not have physically met the person, but they've got a face to the name. They've heard how you felt after these dates. When you introduce them, it's natural. And so if you're in community where you're able to be real and transparent, it shouldn't actually be a big deal. There's a bit of excitement to meet the girl that you're interested in cuffing. You know what I mean? And so like it all comes back to community. Like, are you in a healthy community?
And it all comes down to what your intentions are from the get-go. Are your intention to cuff someone up or to be in a long-lasting relationship, or is it just, I guess,
for attention? Is it flirty? Like.
So, and then if you don't have those long-term intentions, then I get why, you wouldn't introduce someone to your friends or your family.
Yeah, if you don't have the long-term intentions, and not everything needs to be long-term, but if you're talking with your friends about how you're looking for somebody to be with long-term, and then you're doing things that are counter what you're saying, that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and by all means, man, like,
and that's,
we're all hypocrites to some degree.
We're all hypocrites to some things.
We all, but not to like take off any responsibility or allow any slack or whatnot, but
because you've got to go out, you've got to meet people. Like, there's nothing wrong with those things.
And I don't think being on dating apps is an entirely sinful thing.
I don't think it's sinful. I don't think it's bad. I think what you do with it.
I've met people who like met on dating apps and who are happily married now. So
I know people like that too.
Those stories exist. You just gotta protect your heart, man, as cliche as that sounds. But like, you got to make sure, and like from the get-go, you know who, what they put out there, how they're carrying themselves already should tell you or reveal a lot about like who they might be. And not to judge a book by its cover, but usually,
but I guess that's what you're doing when you're online dating.
That's also true.
You're really judging a book by its cover. You're looking at somebody. You're looking at their little bio. You're reading the back of the book. Oh, this is a good book. I want to take this book out to dinner.
Yeah, true. But if you meet someone in like a friend group, you also only really know their bio or like what they have told you about them or what you have heard about them,
But you also know people who know that person.
Yeah.
And people typically don't keep people around that they don't fuck with. I don't keep anybody around that I don't fuck with, period. You might see me in the same social setting as them, but if I'm not kicking it with them, we just went out the other night with some friends that you hadn't met before. Oh, no, you had met everybody. But like, you think about the first few times you met those people when you were in a group, you see those people come around consistently. It's like, all right, wait a minute, who's this?
Yeah.
But like you see me at a park with a random person in a giant group, that does not mean I endorse them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But if you met somebody in a community and they've been there a few times and the people around them know, I feel like that's typically an endorsement of character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But
social proof, and I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm not against dating online, but if you're doing it, just be wise, you know?
Be wise.
Guard your heart above all else.
Yeah, and don't ask me for advice.
Bro, we gotta ask married people for advice, man.
Exactly.
That's why I'm only giving dating advice.
Don't ask the single dude for advice, because man, I ain't got no backup. I might be talking a good game, or like I know the theory, but then
But that's why like wisdom is knowledge applied.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom is knowledge applied. Just because you know a lot does not mean you're wise.
Mm.
And that's why I think it's important to ask people in relationships and people who are married. And that's the benefits of community. If you're a single dude who's hanging out with a bunch of single dudes, asking all your single dudes how you should get this girl, not that they don't have the knowledge, but they don't have the knowledge applied to help you get to where you want to go.
Woo. Yeah, that's that's good.
Because they can put you on their shoulders and lift you up there, but a married guy can reach down and pull you up and help you out of that ditch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and
I don't know.
Wild. I mean, and I've been thinking this these last couple of days. Like, I'm 23 now, right? But like, I hang out with so many married couples. I feel like you're basically married, although you're not. But then this,
I kind of like that though.
I know you do, but
yeah.
And I feel like you guys should have been married by this point.
I totally would have had some bread.
But like my best friend's married, then some other folks around here in Berlin are married, and one couple just had a kid. I'm like, dude, shoot, like, I better be like, I don't want to be that uncle at like 35, 40.
Yeah, you won't be though.
Who's single, who's the bachelor, who, has like a thing here or there and like never really committed to anything.
Ooh, what's Paul up to this year?
I don't want to be that dude.
He's going to the Maldives for the 30th time.
Shoot, man, I'm going on a cruise by yourself. I don't want to be that guy. So I gotta like take this shit serious and like.
But I think that as you take your life serious and you push closer to your goals, you'll find somebody who's running next to you. Like, that's how I felt with Julie. I was headed in a direction and I looked over and I saw this girl. I was like, okay, look, she's kind of cute, she's cool. Kept pushing, because me and her didn't start dating until 6 months after I had some form of interest. And all the times where I looked to the side and saw her, I was like, oh, wait a second, we were running in the same direction, and she was there through those different checkpoints naturally. And that's when I was like, okay, cool, this is somebody who I want to be with. And over time, now I've realized this is somebody who I want to build with. And I feel like that's the hard thing about dating online, is you don't have that opportunity.
That's true, because you never
met
them before. And you start off in a dating setting right away. You don't really ever build that first friendship or initial friendship that it so often kind of takes for long-term relationships. But yet again, I mean, my dad and my mom, they didn't meet online, because back in the days,
were they pen pals?
Huh?
Were they pen pals? I say that's crazy too. Hey, people are doing that.
No, but they met on vacation in Greece. So they didn't have like same social group. They didn't have like the same social setting. Funnily enough, they were from like similar areas, and I guess they had like, they're like, oh, do you know this guy? Oh yeah, like this guy is like a friend of my friend, or like because they're both from like small towns which weren't too far away from each other, yet they had never run into each other. And they had to meet in like Greece at some like hotel pool and basically just hit it off from there. And I don't think they ever had like a friendship type of thing before. I guess it's out of romantically right away too.
Yeah,
I should ask them, but I guess that's
you should bring your dad on the pod.
Yeah, I was thinking that'd be sick.
That would actually be such a cool pod.
My dad and my mom too. I'll have both of them at the same time. Trying to do that.
That'd be super cool.
They'll come visit soon, so I'll try to get that done.
Yeah, and you could drop them separately.
Yeah. Prepare some questions. You're checking the time. I think you're about to head out. Eh?
Yeah.
Boyfriend duties.
Yeah, I don't want to wear this to date night, so I should probably go home and change.
Yeah. That's all good. I think we covered a bunch of cool things.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give this final touch. Do you have any last words?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Bro, thank you for bringing me on twice and letting me be part of the pilot episodes. Like, I think that it's just made me a little bit more confident in who I am. And so I really appreciate that. And
dude, that's sick to hear.
It helps me
reflect thoughts and
reflect thoughts, and as well, when you know that something's being recorded to be put on the internet, I think you hold your tongue a bit more and you think about if you actually believe what you're saying.
Yeah, I should at least do that a bit more. But yeah.
And of course, it's a free flow conversation, but
and like anything that we say, please don't mark our words for.
I can always change my mind, but it's helped me realize, like, oh, like I do actually think this, and I do believe what I'm saying in certain things, and I'll admit my wrongs when I'm wrong, but I appreciate the times and the conversations, and it's a good time, and we talk all the time anyway. But it's
nice. And let's not lose that. And let's even though while you on the other side of the big lake, stay in touch.
Absolutely.
And record 1 or 2 episodes while you're over there.
Of course.
And we've got exciting things to come, guys. And
bro, you never know. You might be in America. We might film one there.
That's what I'm thinking, dude. I want to go to America again. I want to come visit. You should show me around SoCal. Southern California. I'm sure I would love it there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any questions, if you have any remarks, any suggestions regarding who to bring on or whatnot, let us know. Let me know, and feel free to reach out always. And appreciate you guys so much.
Cool.
Thank you.
Have a good one, bro. Thanks for having me.
Of course.